think you made a good point, Matt, is that, we can't, when we've done this, we can't allow ourselves to adapt to other teams. We did it against Northampton in the first half. Our tempo was as slow as they wanted us to be, rather than when Exeter, when we straight on it against Exeter.
And Charlton away, and
Yeah,
Shrewsbury away.
yeah.
We do have a pattern sometimes of adapting to the
Yeah.
other team's tempo and
That
strategy.
can't
don't we?
happen. We've got to be on foot. We said in a lot of our podcasts that we need to maintain that tempo. We've got to be in command and control of this game from the very, very beginning. So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue, and the games are coming thick and fast now in EFL League One. And next up for Birmingham City is Stockport County at home. Stockport County currently sit just one place below Birmingham City in fourth place in the EFL table. So this is going to be a really interesting and intriguing game, an important game for both teams. So in this podcast, as always, myself and Matt are going to preview the game, give our thoughts on Stockport County, and just generally say what we think the starting lineup might be. So, Matt, it's going to be a good game, this one, isn't it?
It's a big game.
Yeah.
And I love the FA Cup, Dad. And, we beat Blackpool at the weekend. But my focus, if I'm totally honest with you, has been the Stockport game this Wednesday.
Yeah.
I think my priority this season, I think a lot of Blues fans will agree. I'm sure we like a cup run, but we have to get back to the Championship. League One is what it's about. We have to get out of this league. And this is a big game. I think if we win on Wednesday, Dad, it's another win of intent. We send another message that we mean business.
Yeah.
And as you've said in the intro, Stockport sitting fourth. They're having a really good season. They've got a really good manager under Dave Chandler.
Yeah.
Got them playing some really, really good football. We'll go into the specifics about them in a minute. But, in my opinion, Stockport are going to be in and around the playoffs by the time the season finishes. They are. I think they'll be somewhere between 4th and 8th. They might just miss it. They might just make it. I think they'll be in and around. So they're not to be taken lightly. I think they're going to be a serious force this season. And they average 1.76 points per game. And they score 1.71 goals per game, which is both really, really good. That's a good trajectory for the season. That's definitely a playoff contending stats. But they averagely concede 1 goal a game, sort of average to poor, so they can concede goals as well. No doubt it's going to be a tough game.
It is, and I remember when we previewed the Wrexham game earlier in the season that we talked about teams that have come up from League Two with momentum. Just like Wrexham, Stockport have done that. In fact, Stockport won League Two last season. They finished above Wrexham at the end of the season, and they've brought that momentum, just like Wrexham, into the League One campaign. So they're playing with confidence. They know each other. They've got some good players. Like I said, they've got a really good manager. So this is another game that we need to really be on our game to tick off.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we need to sort of continue what we did against Exeter, because that was a very, very good performance after what for us has been a very disappointing run of games before that. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think this is one that a lot of people will look at in terms of a top game in League One.
I agree, Dad. And I think the battle of the night's going to be their left, our right, because they've got a player called Louis Barry, who's on loan from Villa, sadly. But he is, there's no point in denying it, he's a great player. He's scored 13 goals this campaign alone. And, he's a very, very good player. He's quick on the ball. He creates chances. He scores from distance. Kind of reminds me a bit of Jack Grealish. That kind of player who plays out on the wing but can cut in and shoot. Very, very good player. But we can go on to the Blues team in a minute, Dad, but is Bielek going to be there? Is Taylor Gardner-Hickman going to be there? Is Laird going to be there? Again, we'll go through the Blues team in a minute, but for me, that's going to be the battle of the night down that section. And they're a good team, Stockport. As we mentioned in my little intro there, Dave Chandler was rumoured with the Blues job. Do you remember when Mowbray stepped down over the summer?
Yeah.
Before we got Chris Davies in, Dave Chandler was one of the names floated around because he's a younger manager, because he's a progressive manager, and he's got Stockport playing that kind of possession-based football. He was tipped to take the not tipped, sorry, but he was in the names rumoured to be in the running for one of the Blues jobs. So, but I've just got a few notes here on Stockport. They prefer placement over press, so positioning to them is really important. And they don't force the press. So, Blues, when we go on the high press, we go at teams, we swarm them, we suffocate them. They don't. They prefer to prioritise especially in their defensive shape, on their positioning rather than their press. And they try and bully you. They're very good on the wings. They are very, very good on the wings. They get balls in the box. And they've got 2 centre mids which like to control the game. Just reference their name here. I think it's Norwood and Bate. They're their centre mids. They're very intelligent. They like to get balls out wide. So something we have to be wary of, because we have been vulnerable this season, that is, balls in the box, set pieces. Yeah. The good thing is Norwood and Bate might be their centre mids. They might be very good, very technical, intelligent. We've got Iowata and Paik, so
Yeah.
they're going to have a battle on their hands in the middle of the park.
Yeah, and I'm more confident defensively going to this game after seeing the Exeter performance. Obviously, we played a second string against Blackpool in the FA Cup and played a very similar type of defensive setup, and I think that Chris Davis has identified that as an issue that needed to be addressed. I think it's been done, and if we continue in the same vein as Exeter, I think that's going to make us a lot tighter at the back. And I think teams like Stockport, you need to be tighter at the back. Like you say, they've got that wing play,
They have.
particularly with Louis Barry. I saw, I don't know if it's true or not, I saw speculation that he might be recalled by Villa
I
in
heard the same.
January.
To go to the Championship, apparently.
Yeah, to send him to a championship team, but I don't know what the arrangement is with. I mean, to me, if Villa want him to progress and he's having a good season with Stockport, it seems a little bit silly to
I agree.
take him from Stockport.
Especially while he's scoring 13
And he's doing
goals.
well. He's getting confidence.
Yeah.
He's getting a load of game time. But that's their business. But that's what I heard as well. On Stockport as well, just a few stats on them. Their away record, they got the 4th best away record in the whole division. So they're strong away. They got 13 points away. There's only Barnsley, us, and Wickham above them. Offensively, so they're the 3rd highest scorers in the division. They scored 29 goals in 17 games. We're just below them with 28 goals in 15 games. And defensively, they've got the 7th best defence in the league as well, only conceding 17 goals. So they're in all areas they're strong.
good.
They're
They're a
strong.
good team.
So this is going to be a game that we need to be very weary of as well. They're on good form as well at the moment. They did go on a sort of a strange run. They've only lost twice all season, and that was really surprised. They lost 4-1 at home to Leighton Orient, which was
That is a big
in
surprise, isn't it?
September. Oh, so 3 times they've lost. They lost 2-1 away to Lincoln and lost 5-0 at home to Wickham, which we all know about.
And then didn't they go beat someone 5-0 the following week? Or
Yeah, they
Bolton or
went
something?
and beat Bolton.
That was
5-0.
it, yeah, I
That's what I'm
remember
saying. So they've had look at their season. So they started off with 3 wins in a row. Then out of the next 4 games, 3 draws and a loss. Then out of the next batch of games, 1 win and another 3 draws. They've drawn a lot of games in that spell. Then the last 6 games, they've won the last 3, but they've won 4 of the last 6. So they're sort of hot and cold at the moment. They're in a bit of a hot streak. So they're capable of clearly beating teams, but clearly they're also vulnerable to conceding goals as well. What makes it seem strange is when I've just said to you that they've got one of the best defences in the league, right? So which is true. So their stats say that defensively they've got their 7th best defence in this league, but they conceded 5 at home to Wickham, 4 at home to. So that tells you that the games that the rest of their games they don't concede many goals to other teams. They're conceding, apart from that 5 and the 4, they're conceding 1s and 0s and keeping clean sheets.
They either get battered or they have a really good game.
Yeah,
it tends to be.
Don't seem to be any middle ground with them, which is absolutely strange. I think they'll come to us knowing that it's going to be tough. We haven't lost at home yet this season. We've won every game apart from 2 drawn 2. We drew the first game against Reading and the last game against Northampton, so we are hoping to get back to winning ways, but they'll know it's tough coming to St.Andrews.
Yeah, they're going to know they're in for a fight. And the thing that's in my mind as well is they're very good at making other teams adapt to their game plan and their strategy. And Dad, we've seen Blues this season away at Charlton, away to Shrewsbury. We kind of got stuck into the game they wanted us to play, didn't we? And I hope we don't do that this week, this Wednesday. And I saw them against Wrexham, and they just completely nullified the Wrexham plan, and they forced them. I mean, Wrexham are a pretty direct team anyway, but they forced them into just these long balls. Their centre-half is a bloke called Horsfall, who was just batting it back, and it was just literally like a training exhibition because Stockport didn't allow Wrexham to play the game they would usually play, and they forced them to play how they wanted them to. So I hope we don't get sucked into that. I hope we play our game and stick to our strategy. And as I said, the big concern for me before we move on to the Blues team is the width. They've got Louis Barry on the left. I've got it here. Just bear with me. Southam Hales, who's on the right side. So Cochrane's going to have to be on his game. He's very fast. Again, he can beat his man and get a ball in. They do like to utilise that width. So for me, the centre mid's going to be key. That battle with Norwood and Bate, and also Cochrane and whoever's going to be our right back. To me, they're going to be really key to winning this game.
Yeah, and like you mentioned Louis Barry, but he's not their only goal scorer. So he's got 13. They've got to Cole Wootton. He's got 6. So they're the 2 main ones because the rest of them are 2s and 1s in. So Will Collar's got 2. Isaac Alofe has got 2. In terms of assists, Carl Wotton's got 3. So Carl Wotton has got goals and he's got some assists as well. So they're the 2 danger men for them in terms of goal scoring threat are Louis Barry and Carl Wotton. So they're 2. But I'm sure Chris Davis will have done the same research. Well, probably better research than I would hope.
Yeah.
I would hope.
He's got full-time people looking into it, so I'd like to think they're a bit better than me and you, Dad.
Yeah. I mean, they last season they obviously won League 2, scored a lot of goals. Clearly, they had a defender called Paddy Madden, who's now gone. He's gone to Chesterfield. He scored 22 goals for them. Then Isaac Alofe, who's still there, who I've just mentioned, he's got a few this season. He got 21. Carl Wotton got 12. So, and then Louis Barry was there for part of the season on loan. He got 9. So a lot of the players that brought them up from League 2 are still with them. And I say they've got this momentum moving forward. But like everything, I think you made a good point, Matt. Is that we can't, when we've done this, we can't allow ourselves to adapt to other teams. We did it against Northampton in the first half. Our tempo was as slow as they wanted us to be, rather than when Exeter, when we straight on it.
And Charlton away, and Shrewsbury away.
Yeah.
We do have a pattern sometimes of adapting to the other team's tempo and strategy.
That can't happen. We've got to be on foot. We said in a lot of our podcasts that we need to maintain that tempo. If we adapt to their style, then we're just playing into their hands. And what we don't want to do as well is concede an early goal, because what we tend to find is teams then will sit back and start to waste time and all that type of thing. So we've got to be in command and control of this game from the very, very beginning. Chris Davis will have the players up for it. He'll know that we are, this is a big game in this league. These are the types of teams that are going to be in or around the.
Have to win these games.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Dad, this season we have a pattern of beating the teams around us. We've beaten a lot of the teams in the top 10. It's the teams, the Northamptons, the Shrewsburys, we seem to be dropping the ball on.
Yeah.
So we do seem to raise our game against the teams who are arguably doing or tipped to be doing the better by the end of the season. But you're right, Dad. Let's not get stuck into what they want us to do and how they want us to play. Let's stick to our game plan. And I have no doubt, Dad, if we stick to our game plan, we'll win this game. Again, like we always say, we have the quality. We have. I think Chris Davis has now got a little bit more in the arsenal with putting players in the positions now that they should be playing. And I think there's no doubt, Dad, we have the quality to win this game.
I think so. But like you say, it's just a case of taking the momentum now that we're starting to gain again after the Exeter game. I think the Shrewsbury result was a real wake-up call for
and
Chris Davis
and
for the clubs. Yeah, and the Northampton game as well. And it's now a case of taking the new approach that Chris Davis seems to have adapted for Exeter, because sometimes it's like fine-tuning an engine. You just make those little tweaks and it makes a massive difference. If we can play the same formation and the style of football we did against Exeter at home, I think and control the tempo, I think we'll win this game.
Agreed.
Okay, so
Blues?
On to the Blues team.
Let's do it. Should we do what we always do and just go through the positioning and see what we think who's going to play where?
Yeah, let's do that. So let's start in goal.
Also,
I think it's worth saying before we do this as well that there's 10 changes that were made for the Blackpool game. I think we're going to see a complete reversal back.
It'll be closely aligned to Exeter.
I think it will be. So we both go for Allsop back in goal. Yeah,
Allsop will be back in goal. So that takes on to left back there,
Cochran is going to be left back nailed on. Yeah.
For me at centre half, I'd like to see Ben Davies on the left side of the centre half and Clara on the right side of the centre half.
I think that'll happen, and I think that we'll also see Bielek at right back in my opinion, based upon Exeter.
Louis Barry, he's a nippy little player. He's quite fast. We all know Clara and Bielek's weakness is our pace. Would you not consider Taylor Gardner-Hickman for this game? Because I think he's a bit closer aligned with Louis Barry. I think Gardner-Hickman would have a better chance of keeping Barry quiet than Bielek.
Yeah, I've got him on my bench, but I think that he would be a good option actually.
I think
because
so.
he's got more pace than Bielek.
Only because of Barry. Yeah. Because he'll keep him quieter because he's faster, he's fitter.
And I've said to you before as well, Taylor Gardner-Hickman's got this edge to him. He's aggressive, and I think that's what's going to be needed. So I probably think that's a better shout actually. But I'm just thinking that I'm trying to get into Chris Davis' mentality, thinking that we did so well against Exeter.
By the way, I'm with you. I think Bielek will be the right back, but again, just giving both sides of the argument and the coin, I would want to see Taylor Gardner-Hickman for this game. Just in my opinion.
I think he would, based upon the fact that Louis Barry is a proper threat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you're right, because Bielek, he could get caught out on pace.
Yeah,
and that's going to be quite detrimental to us. So I think I'd agree with that actually. I'd go Taylor Gardner-Hickman in.
Yeah. Okay. So should we talk through the whole midfield and the attack in one go, just so we don't end up chopping and changing? I'll go first there. So I've gone for Iwata and Paik back in the two centre mid positions.
Yeah.
I've gone for Stano on the left, Williamson in the 10, Keshi Anderson on the right, and I've gone for May in the 9.
Identical.
Yeah.
That's absolutely, again, that matches what we did against.
Pending
Exeter.
Scott Wright's injury, pending a few little niggles we have in, Hansen and all these, they're going to have to get game time and nurse their injury back, aren't they? So I'm almost certain it will be that. But I think we're crying out for some really good play on the wings again. You Scott Wright, you Hansen, they stretch.
I think
a little bit more.
from what you hear, they're doing okay, but they're not quite ready yet. Same with Buchanan as well. He's pretty close apparently, but at the moment we have to just assume that he's not going to be there. I mean, at some point in some game, he's going to appear on the bench somewhere. Scott Wright and Buchanan, they're going to be there.
All of them.
And Hansen, not Ken Hansen either. So so I think we agree on the starting lineup really, and then on the bench I've got Bailey, Peacock, Farrell, Laird.
Yep.
I've got Sanderson.
Yeah.
Leonard, Yokoyama, Dykes and Harris.
Yeah, same. The only question mark would be Taylor Gardner-Hickman and the Bielek at the right back situation. But that's an unknown that we can't control until we see the game on Wednesday. So, identical in the midfield and attack, Dad, and bench as well. So it's always good, Simon, we're on the same page because it usually aligns with what other fans are thinking. But we'd love to hear from you Blues fans as always. What are your thoughts and who do you think will start in certain positions?
Yeah, so then it, as always, comes on to the score prediction.
Goals. I can see this having a lot of goals, and I think this is going to be a bit similar to the Wrexham game. It was the whole, it was 3-1 win that was for Blues on the night. It had that whole kind of big build up to it, and I've just got a feeling a similar night under the lights to Wrexham. Maybe not as big profile because we had Beckham there and that sort of thing, but I've gone for Birmingham City 3, Stockport County 2.
3-2, wow.
I've gone for 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone for a 1-goal difference as well, but I've gone 2-1. So Birmingham 2, Stockport 1. But again, a home win. I think this is an important game. It is for both teams, to be fair. And it depends on how Stockport set themselves up. Now, the thing about Stockport is there's nothing for them to fear in their minds because they've come up from League Two. They're a confident team. But I think that could play into our hands. If they play an open, expansive game, that will be better for us rather than what's happened before. We've struggled against teams that have blocked us or tried to block.
That's why I think there'll be goals.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Stockport are going to come and park the bus. I think they're going to come and have a go.
Yeah.
And usually when teams do that, it plays into our hands. It opens up little pockets across the pitch. We have to be very wary of them on the wings. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Whoever's going to be in the full-back on the right has to be switched on, and Cochrane as well. But I still think there's going to be goals in this. And because we're going a little bit more direct now, we saw it against Exeter, we saw it against Blackpool. Okay, fair enough. Granted, that was a second-string team against Blackpool. But I feel like Chris Davis is slowly jumping off the possession horse. Not drastically. He's not changing his morals and theories towards football, but he is getting us into games more on a direct approach, and I think that's going to breed more goals as we go through the season. So
I think you're right, and I think we've always said it before. Possession means nothing. It means nothing. They don't have a stat that gets any points attached to possession. It's actually, of course, the advantage of possession is you've got the ball and the other team can't hurt you when you've got the ball. Fair enough, but actually, it's making that possession count.
But all it takes is one long ball.
Yeah, but I think that...
So you could have 80% possession. I'm referencing the Northampton game here, Dad. 80% possession, 1 minute before the game, they do a long ball, Hail Mary, they score, you walk away with 1 point. What was the point in burning 88 minutes worth of football to then concede that goal? You might as well go at them.
But that's our Achilles heel, and teams have identified that because every team we've played at some point has tried to hoof the ball high over us.
Shrewsbury did it twice.
Mansfield had done it. Northampton did it, and every team's had a go at doing that. But I think that Chris Davis has identified that as an Achilles heel. I think he's tried to patch that. I think, as I say, the signs against Exeter were good. We closed the door. We give them very little chance. We're never, we're not going to go through this season and not lose games or not lose any further games and not concede goals. We will, but we've got to stop that sort of outlet where we're just bombing forward and just leaving gaps at the back. We'll see what happens, but as I say, I was very encouraged by the Exeter performance, and I know it's only one game. Blackpool's hard to gauge because it wasn't our first choice 11. But I think this game will be the real benchmark about how we've done that, because this team, Stockport, can score goals.
They can.
So we'll see how it happens. But so we've both gone for a home win.
They are also, as you've referenced in various games, prone to conceding a lot of goals. It seems to be when they concede a goal, their head goes down and it opens up the floodgates, don't it? So if we can get an early goal like we did against Blackpool, I think we could be in for a bit of a treat here on Wednesday. I think this could be a high-scoring game, and I hope so. Under the lights, you can't beat goals going in, can you? There's something about St.Andrews under the lights. I don't think it's quite a sellout, but it'll be busy. It'll be not far off. So we need to bring the noise, get behind the boys, and I have no doubt when that final whistle goes, we can secure all 3 points here.
Yeah, and that's what we need, isn't it, Blues fans? We need to keep the momentum going. We got back to winning ways against Exeter after having a couple of draws and a real bad defeat against Shrewsbury. But we need to get back on track and keep the momentum going. So we've sort of hopeful that we can do that. We'd love to know your thoughts on what you think will happen. Birmingham City supporters, let us know in the comments below what you think the score will be. Also, Stockport County supporters, if you've come across our podcast for the first time, we always welcome comments from opposition fans as well. So please add your comments below this video as well. If you did like this podcast, then please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to listen or watch your podcast on Spotify, you'll also find us on there, and you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all of these right now. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that red subscribe button and the bell notification if you'd like to be notified every time we put a podcast out. So hope you've enjoyed the video, and myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.